Ever wonder what happens when life ends? Not just the close of a day, but the end of you. What if everything you've learned about that moment about death isn't just wrong, but a lie crafted to keep you afraid? This isn't a spiritual poem or a wild theory spun from the edges of the internet. It's a story about a man who looked beyond the veil and found something extraordinary. His name was Nikola Tesla, and his discovery was buried for over a century. Tesla wasn't only the genius who gave us electricity or dreamed up wireless technology before smartphones were even imagined. He was a searcher, a man who tuned into the universe's quiet hum when others were shouting. In the spring of 1930, in a room likely warmed by lamplight, Tesla gave an interview that challenged everything we're taught to believe. He didn't talk about circuits or machines. He spoke of the soul, of what happens when we leave this body behind. His words were so powerful, so unsettling, they were hidden in a forgotten archive, marked with a warning: do not publish until humanity is ready. This is a real discovery, found in a dusty library, a truth Tesla didn't guess at, he knew. In his lab, probably in the heart of Manhattan, surrounded by the buzz of strange machines, Tesla didn't pray or ponder. He experimented. He built devices like one he called the echo catcher to sense the soul's energy as it slipped free from the body. To Tesla, the soul wasn't a ghostly myth or a preacher's promise. It was energy, as real as the light in your lamp, as measurable as your heartbeat, vibrating at a frequency so subtle we're only now beginning to grasp it. Imagine him there, alone, watching his instruments flicker, feeling the air shift with something science hadn't yet named. The soul, to Tesla, wasn't locked in your bones or granted by some distant power. It's you, the part that thinks, loves, dreams, and keeps going when your body rests. Tesla's vision was bold. He saw the soul as a signal, enduring beyond the flesh. In his Manhattan lab, he felt this truth in moments when ink paused mid-sentence, when the air grew heavy with unseen presence. These weren't ghost stories, they were clues, proof that the soul's frequency lingers, resonates, endures. But this truth wasn't buried because it was crazy. It was buried because it was dangerous. Dangerous to the systems that need you afraid, that need you to believe death is the end so you'll follow their rules, chase their promises, and never ask too many questions. From the time you were a child, you were taught to fear death, fear it as a loss, a judgment, a void. Religions offer heavens or warn of hells. Governments sell safety for loyalty. All of it rests on one idea: if death is final, you'll do anything to avoid it. You'll obey, conform, stay in line. But what if Tesla was right? What if your soul is a frequency that doesn't stop, that carries you forward, unbroken, eternal, that changes everything? The fear that shaped your choices, held you back, starts to unravel. When that fear fades, the systems built on it, from empires to dogmas, lose their grip. Tesla didn't want to start a revolution or build a church. He wanted to light a spark in you, to remind you that you're not just a body, not just a name on a paycheck or a gravestone. You're a piece of the universe, a vibration that's been here forever and will never fade. In his lab, he felt this in every hum of his machines, every shift in the air that whispered of eternity. This truth, hidden for a century, is a call to wake up, to see yourself as more than what you've been told. It's a chance to live without fear, to ask what's true, not what's expected. Tesla found his answer in the quiet corners of Manhattan, in the glow of his discoveries. Now, it's your turn to listen, to feel that spark, and to let it guide you home. What does it mean to know something so deeply you don't need to believe? Nikola Tesla didn't just wonder about the soul. He understood it, not through faith or fleeting hopes, but through the steady gaze of a scientist who saw the universe as a symphony of vibrations. When someone asked him about life after death, he didn't spin tales of angels or afterlife promises. He said, with quiet conviction, "I know." That certainty wasn't born of arrogance. It came from years spent in his lab, likely in the heart of Manhattan, listening to the universe's hidden frequencies, decoding truths most of us are taught to ignore. To Tesla, the soul wasn't a poetic notion or a religious relic. It was energy, as real as the electricity that powered his inventions, as tangible as the sound waves that carry a song. He saw it as a field, vibrating at a frequency so fine it eluded the tools of his time, yet so potent it shaped your thoughts, your memories, your very essence. In his private journals, tucked away from a world too quick to dismiss him, Tesla called the soul the source code of who you are, not a myth, not a gift from above, but a physical reality waiting for science to catch up. Imagine that your core, the part that makes you, you, is a ripple of light, a hum that echoes through the cosmos, unbroken by time or death. In his Manhattan lab, surrounded by the soft glow of coils and the faint buzz of machines, Tesla chased this truth with the same rigor he brought to every discovery. He didn't light incense or whisper prayers. He built instruments, one of which he named the echo catcher, designed to sense the soul's energy as it left the body. This wasn't about trapping spirits or chasing shadow. It was about resonance, about tuning into a signal that didn't fade when the heart stopped. Picture him there, alone in the quiet hours, watching his devices flicker, feeling the air grow thick with something beyond explanation. He believed that when a person dies, their essence doesn't vanish. It's set free, like a radio wave unbound from its antenna, still humming, still alive in ways we're too distracted to sense. Tesla's journals speak of moments that would give anyone pause. He wrote of the air turning cold in his lab when someone passed, not as a ghostly tale, but as a shift in energy he could almost measure. He noticed objects stir as if brushed by an unseen hand, and ink thicken on his pen mid-sentence, as if the world itself were responding to an invisible force. These weren't hauntings to him. He called them field interactions, signs that the soul's frequency leaves a trace, a vibration that lingers in the spaces it touched. Every person, he believed, carries a unique signal, like a signature written in starlight. When we die, that signal doesn't die. It scatters, sometimes gathering again, touching the world in ways we've been taught are impossible. This wasn't just a scientist's curiosity at work. Tesla's findings were a truth that reached beyond the walls of his lab. He believed the soul was as undeniable as gravity, a force science would one day embrace if it dared to look. In his Manhattan nights, he tuned his machines to catch these faint signals, to hear what others couldn't. He saw a future where we wouldn't shrink from the soul's reality, where we'd stop calling it supernatural and recognize it as natural, a layer of existence as real as the ground beneath your feet. His echo catcher wasn't just a tool, it was a bridge to a new understanding, a way to show that you're not bound by your body, that your essence endures, eternal and unbroken. Tesla's vision of the soul as energy isn't just a theory to ponder over coffee. It's a call to see yourself differently. If your soul is a frequency, you're not a fleeting thing, destined to flicker out. You're a signal, woven into the universe's vast tapestry, connected to something greater. In his lab, Tesla felt this connection in every hum, every strange shift that hinted at eternity. He didn't want you to believe in the soul. He wanted you to know it, to feel it in your bones, to live as if you're more than the fears and limits you've been handed. So, imagine standing in his lab, hearing that faint hum. What would it mean to tune into your own signal, to trust that you're part of something infinite. Tesla spent his life listening for that truth. Now, it's your chance to hear it too. What if death isn't the end you've been taught to dread? What if it's not a curtain falling, but a door opening, a shift in the music of who you are? Nikola Tesla didn't see death as a loss or a judgment. He saw it as a transformation, a moment when the soul, that vibrant frequency he spent his life chasing, slips free from its temporary home and keeps resonating. In his lab, likely in the electric pulse of Manhattan, Tesla didn't approach death with fear or folklore. He studied it like a scientist, with a mind that refused to accept the world's grim stories. To Tesla, the soul wasn't tethered to the body, doomed to fade when the heart stops. It was a signal, eternal, unbound, vibrating through the vastness of space and time. "You're not a body with a soul," he wrote in his journals. "You're a soul, wearing a body for a season, a spark of light dancing through this life before moving on." In his Manhattan lab, surrounded by the hum of coils and the glow of his strange devices, Tesla felt this truth in moments that defied explanation. He noticed the air grow heavy when someone passed, not as a ghostly chill, but as a shift in energy, a ripple of the soul's frequency lingering in the room. He saw objects stir, ink pause mid-sentence, as if the world itself were touched by an unseen hand. These weren't tales to spook the curious. They were evidence, as real to Tesla as the currents he harnessed. He believed every person carries a unique vibration, a signature of energy that doesn't vanish at death. It scatters, sometimes gathering again, echoing through the places and people it once knew. In his lab, Tesla's echo catcher hummed with these signals, catching traces of souls that had moved on yet still resonated. To him, this was a new kind of existence, a science of continuity where death isn't an end but a change, like a radio finding a different station, the melody of you still playing, clear and unbroken. This vision struck at the heart of a deeper lie. Tesla understood that the fear of death is the world's oldest chain, forged to keep you in place. From your earliest memories, you're taught to see death as a thief, stealing all you've built. Religions promise eternal rewards or warn of punishments. Governments trade safety for compliance. All of it hinges on one idea: death is final, and fear is your master. In his Manhattan nights, Tesla saw through this. If the soul is a frequency that endures, as his experiments suggested, that fear is a myth, a story told to make you obey, to make you trade your freedom for promises of security. Tesla's truth wasn't just about what happens after we're gone. It was about how we live today. If your soul is eternal, if death is just a shift in vibration, then the fears that hold you back, fear of failure, of loss, of the unknown, lose their power. In his lab, Tesla felt the universe as a dance of energies where matter is light compressed and light is consciousness in motion. You're part of that dance, connected to every other soul, every other spark, in a symphony that never ends. His machines, like the echo catcher, were his way of proving this, of showing that the soul's signal doesn't just linger, it shapes the world, even after the body fades. This changes everything about how you see yourself. If you're a frequency woven into the universe's endless hum, then you're not small or fleeting. You're infinite, carrying a purpose that stretches beyond this life. In his Manhattan lab, Tesla sensed this in the energies that moved through his machines, in the moments when the air itself seemed to whisper of eternity. He believed that if you could grasp this, you'd stop living as if time is slipping away. You'd start living as if you're boundless, choosing courage over caution, truth over illusion, love over fear. Tesla's work was a quiet defiance of the stories we're sold. He didn't want to soothe you with empty promises. He wanted to awaken you, to make you see that death isn't a thief, but a guide, leading you to the next verse of your song. In his lab, he felt the soul's resonance in every flicker, every hum, a reminder that you're never truly gone. So, imagine standing where he stood, feeling that truth in the air. What would it mean to live as if death is just a step, not a stop? Tesla heard that truth in the pulse of his machines, in the light of Manhattan's quiet nights. Step into that light and let it show you who you've always been. How do you prove something as vast as eternity? Nikola Tesla didn't turn to sermons or seances. He turned to the hum of his machines, to the quiet truths that whispered in his lab, likely in the restless heart of Manhattan. Tesla didn't just claim the soul endures beyond death. He lived moments that proved it. 5 experiences so vivid they reshaped his understanding of what it means to be alive. These weren't fleeting visions or hopeful guesses. They were as real to him as the electricity he brought to the world, each one a thread in the tapestry of a truth too big for the world to hold. The first came during an experiment with magnetic fields, the kind that made the air in his lab crackle with possibility. As Tesla adjusted his equipment, something shifted, not in the room, but in him. His body stayed rooted, but his consciousness broke free, drifting above Manhattan's crowded streets. He saw faces, heard voices, noted details with a clarity that stunned him. Later, he scribbled every observation in his journal, and when he checked, the streets, the sounds, the scenes matched reality perfectly. This wasn't a dream. It was evidence, etched in his notes, that the soul could leave the body and return, a signal unbound by flesh, as real as the city below. Then there was the electrical memory of space. Tesla believed the world itself holds echoes of the souls that pass through it. Walking into old buildings, he'd feel waves of sorrow or fear, not as intuition, but as vibrations lingering in the air. In his Manhattan lab, he sensed these traces, like fingerprints of light left by lives long gone. These weren't tricks of the mind. They were the universe's own record, capturing every emotion, every moment. It's why some places feel sacred, others heavy with pain. To Tesla, this was the soul's frequency, woven into the fabric of existence, proof that we leave more than memories behind. Another truth came through what Tesla called the music of the soul. Not songs you hear, but vibrations you feel deep in your core. In his lab, he built a device with wires and antennas designed to catch these subtle resonances. When he tuned it, he didn't hear notes. He felt presence, as if someone who'd passed was near, not to frighten, but to linger, their signals still humming. This wasn't ghost chasing, it was science, a mapping of frequencies that proved the soul doesn't fade. In his Manhattan nights, Tesla stood by that device, sensing souls who'd left their bodies yet still touched the world, a truth as clear as the stars above. The fourth moment cut deeper. One day, Tesla collapsed, overwhelmed by a force he couldn't name. Hours later, a letter arrived, bearing news that a close friend had died in another country at that very moment. To Tesla, this was no coincidence. It was a connection, a thread of love that stretched across oceans, unbroken by death. In his journals, he wrote that love is a bridge, a vibration that links souls beyond space or time. In his lab, he felt this truth in the quiet, knowing his friend's signal had reached him, a reminder that we're never truly apart. The fifth experience was the strangest. Tesla had dreams, vivid, not his own, filled with faces and voices he didn't know. Later, he learned others, far away, saw the same visions on the same nights. He believed death opens a shared space, a meeting ground where the living and the departed touch, not through magic, but through aligned frequencies. In his Manhattan lab, he sensed this in the hum of his echo catcher, in the energies that felt like conversations across time. These weren't fantasies, they were patterns, clues to a reality where souls connect in an eternal now. Tesla's 5 moments weren't just stories. They were his proof, a new science of the soul born in the glow of his lab. If even one holds true, it upends everything we've been taught about life and death. You're not a body destined to dust. You're a frequency, a signal that weaves through existence, touching, lingering, enduring. In his Manhattan nights, Tesla felt this in every experiment, every quiet hum. So, picture yourself in his world, hearing these truths. What if you're part of that eternal weave? Take that truth, hold it close, and let it light the questions you've carried all your life. What if the fear that shaped your life isn't real? What if the dread of death, the weight you've carried since you first understood loss, is a story told to keep you small? Nikola Tesla saw through this illusion. In his lab, likely in the restless hum of Manhattan, he didn't just chase the soul's frequency with his echo catcher or prove its endurance through strange experiments. He uncovered a truth that cuts to the core of how we're controlled. The fear of death is a lie, and the soul's eternal signal is the key to breaking free. Tesla believed the soul is a vibration, unbound by the body, carrying your essence beyond the grave. In his journals, he wrote that consciousness isn't chained to your brain, nor are memories locked in flesh. The soul is a light that hums through time, holding who you are across the boundaries of life and death. In his Manhattan lab, he felt this in moments when the air shifted, when his machines caught signals that whispered of eternity. Death, to him, wasn't a final curtain, but a shift, a moment when the soul steps into a new verse of its endless song. This truth, born in the glow of his experiments, dismantles the fear that's been used to chain you. From your earliest years, you've been taught to see death as the ultimate threat. It's painted as a judge, a void, a loss that strips everything away. Religions offer salvation if you obey, punishment if you stray. Governments promise protection if you follow their rules. Every system leans on this fear, convincing you that death is the end, that you must cling to safety at all costs. But Tesla's work tells a different story. If the soul is a frequency that endures, as his lab showed through flickers of energy and moments of unseen presence, then that fear is a fabrication. It's a tool to make you conform, to keep you from questioning the world's demands. In his Manhattan nights, Tesla glimpsed what lies beyond this lie. He wrote of a state he called the mirror, a moment after death when the soul faces its own truth. It's not a courtroom with a stern deity. It's a clear reflection, showing the full impact of your life, not just what you did, but how it rippled through others. You see the love you shared, the pain you caused, the moments of kindness or cruelty that shaped your frequency. This isn't punishment, it's understanding, a chance to hear your life's melody, every note and silence woven together. Tesla believed what echoes loudest isn't wealth or fame, but intention, the quiet sincerity of your heart. This vision rewrites how you live. If death is a doorway, not a dead end, the fear that's driven your choices loses its hold. Tesla saw the soul as light breaking through a prism, revealing the full spectrum of who you are across this life and beyond. In his lab, he felt this in the signals his echo catcher caught, in the energies that proved the soul doesn't vanish. He believed that if you could embrace this, you'd stop living as if you're dodging an inevitable loss. You'd start living as if you're infinite, choosing courage over caution, connection over isolation, truth over the world's empty promises. Tesla's work was a rebellion against fear itself. In his Manhattan lab, he stood alone, knowing his findings were too bold for a world that thrives on control. He wrote that the soul's eternity is a truth that frees you, but it's one the world buries to keep you tethered. If you know you're a signal that can't be silenced, you don't need to bow to fear. You can question, create, love with a strength that comes from knowing you're part of something greater. In his journals, Tesla described the universe as a dance of vibrations, where you're never alone, never lost, always resonating. This truth is a spark in the darkness. It's not just about what waits after death. It's about the life you're living right now, the choices you make, the fears you let go. In his lab, Tesla felt the soul's signal in every hum, every shift, a reminder that you're eternal. So, stand in that truth. Let it guide you past the fear, past the lies, to a life that sings with your own frequency. Tesla carved this path in the quiet of Manhattan, in the light of his machines. Follow it and discover the freedom that's always been yours. Have you ever walked into a place and felt its weight, as if the air itself carried stories of sorrow or struggle? Nikola Tesla believed those feelings weren't just your imagination. In his lab, likely in the vibrant hum of Manhattan, he saw the soul as a frequency that doesn't always find peace. Some souls, he wrote, get caught, not in a fiery abyss or a divine trap, but in a layer of energy he called the residue field. This isn't a realm of torment. It's a space where the soul's signal lingers, heavy with unresolved pain, tethered by choices that couldn't be released. Tesla described the residue field as a vibration just beyond our sight, close enough to touch our world, yet unseen. It's the heaviness in old battlefields, where the ground seems to hum with grief. It's the chill in forgotten prisons or asylums, where suffering left its mark. In his Manhattan lab, Tesla sensed these energies not as ghosts, but as fragments of consciousness, looping through memories of regret or longing. These souls aren't malevolent. They're lost, drawn to places that echo their own inner storms, like a song stuck on repeat. He felt this in the air of Manhattan's oldest buildings, where the soul's frequency clung to the walls, whispering of lives unfinished. This wasn't just about the dead. Tesla saw the same trap in the living. In his journals, he wrote that you can live your whole life in a kind of residue field, disconnected from your true signal, caught in cycles of fear, resentment, or emptiness. You don't need to die to be stuck. You can spend years chasing things that don't matter: power, approval, control, and let your frequency grow heavy, dimming the light you're meant to carry. In his lab, Tesla felt these burdened energies not just from the past, but from the world around him, a reminder that living without awareness is its own kind of limbo. Yet Tesla's vision wasn't one of despair. He believed there was a way to break free, for both the living and the lost. The answer, he wrote, lies in love, not the fleeting kind, but a deep, resonant love, woven from compassion and forgiveness. In his Manhattan lab, he sensed that a heartfelt intention, like a prayer rooted in truth, could lift a soul's frequency. It's like striking a tuning fork, sending out a clear note that helps the lost find their way. Tesla believed even the most trapped souls could rise when touched by genuine care, not through ceremonies, but through the quiet power of resonance. Not all souls linger out of pain. Tesla wrote of the listeners, souls who stay close not because they're bound, but because they choose to. They're the ones you sense in a moment of stillness, in a dream that feels like a memory, in a sudden warmth that says you're not alone. In his lab, Tesla felt these presences through his echo catcher, signals that carried love, not loss. He believed these souls wait for those they cherish, guiding them with whispers that cross the veil. In Manhattan's quiet nights, he sensed them, like a melody just out of reach, proof that connection endures beyond the body. Tesla's insight into the residue field and the listeners reshapes how you see your life. If souls can get lost, it's a call to live with purpose, to heal what weighs you down before you leave this world. If souls can linger to guide, it means you're part of a web of light, never truly alone. In his lab, Tesla felt this in every signal his machines caught, in every shift that spoke of eternity. He saw existence as a dance of frequencies, where love lifts and fear binds, where every choice shapes the signal you carry, now and forever. This truth is a beacon. It's not just about what happens after death. It's about how you move through the world today, how you lighten your own frequency, how you reach for those who feel lost. In his Manhattan lab, Tesla heard the soul's hum, a reminder that you're eternal, connected, alive in ways the world can't dim. So, carry that hum with you. Let it guide your steps, your heart, your truth. Tesla found this path in the glow of his machines, in the quiet of the city. Walk it now, and let your light lead others home. Ever feel a moment so familiar it's like you've lived it before? A fleeting sense that this life isn't your first, that you've walked this earth with different names, different faces. Nikola Tesla believed those moments are the soul's quiet whispers, reminders of its journey. In his lab, likely in the restless glow of Manhattan, he didn't just see the soul as a frequency that endures beyond death. He saw it as a traveler, choosing to return, not out of obligation, but out of a deep desire to grow, to refine its light until it shines without need of a body. Tesla understood reincarnation not as a trap or a cosmic wheel, but as a deliberate path. In his journals, he described the moment after death, when the soul enters what he called the mirror, a space of pure clarity, where it sees its life in full, not just the deeds, but their echoes, the joy you sparked, the pain you left behind, the love you offered or withheld. This isn't a trial, it's a revelation, a chance to feel the weight and wonder of your choices. In that mirror, the soul knows itself, sees what it missed, and decides its next step. Some souls merge with the greater hum of existence. Others, drawn by purpose or unfinished lessons, choose to come back, to weave a new thread in the tapestry of their eternity. In his Manhattan lab, Tesla felt this truth in the signals his echo catcher caught, in the energies that seemed to carry memories older than time. He believed the soul brings traces of its past lives, like faint notes in a melody. That's why a child might speak with wisdom beyond their years, why a place or era pulls at your heart, why you feel a connection that defies explanation. These are the soul's fingerprints, etched in your frequency, guiding you toward what you came to learn. Tesla saw life as a canvas, each return a chance to paint with clearer colors, to align your signal with the universe's endless song. But Tesla cautioned that not every return brings growth. Some souls, he wrote, drift in a sleepwalk, chasing shadows of power, pride, or pain across lifetimes. They return not to awaken, but to repeat, carrying old wounds into new lives, stumbling through the same mistakes because they haven't learned to see. In his lab, Tesla sensed these heavy frequencies, lingering like fog in Manhattan's oldest corners. This isn't fate's cruelty, but a choice born of unawareness, a soul circling until it finds the courage to look within. He believed the cycle persists until the soul chooses differently, until it seeks light over shadow. Yet there are those Tesla called the awake, souls who carry a faint memory of their journey. They don't fit the world's mold. They question, feel deeply, bear a quiet ache for something more, not because they're lost, but because their frequency hums at a higher note. In his journals, Tesla hinted that history's brightest minds, thinkers, artists, inventors were often souls who'd walked this path before. Their brilliance wasn't new. It was remembered, drawn from a well of lifetimes. In his lab, he felt this in the signals that seemed to whisper ancient truths, as if the soul itself were inventing by recalling what it already knew. Tesla's view of reincarnation was neither dogma nor destiny. It was a map, a way to understand why you're here, why life feels like a puzzle with pieces from another time. In his Manhattan nights, he sensed this in the hum of his machines, in the energies that carried purpose across the veil. He believed the soul returns until its frequency is so clear, so bright, it no longer needs a body to shine. These souls become guides, not in grand gestures, but in quiet moments, a stranger's wisdom, a dream that shifts your path, a child's eyes that seem to know you. In his lab, Tesla felt their presence, signals of love that lingered to light the way. This truth reshapes your life. If you're a soul choosing to return, every moment is a chance to refine your light, to heal what dims you, to love with a heart that knows eternity. In his lab, Tesla saw existence as a dance of frequencies, where every step matters, where you're never alone. So, embrace that dance. Let it move you toward truth, toward the purpose you chose. Tesla carved this path in the quiet of Manhattan, in the hum of his discoveries. Step onto it and let your soul's ancient song lead you forward. Why is the truth about your soul kept from you? Why are the stories of death you've heard since childhood so heavy with fear, so empty of wonder? Nikola Tesla believed this wasn't by chance. In his lab, likely in the electric hum of Manhattan, he saw the soul as a frequency, eternal and unbound, a signal that could set you free. But he also saw that this truth was smothered, not by accident, but by a world that thrives on keeping you afraid, keeping you quiet, keeping you from the questions that could unravel its control. Tesla understood that fear is a learned thing, drilled into you from your earliest days. You're taught to see death as a specter, a final reckoning that demands obedience. Religions hold out promises of paradise or threats of torment. Governments offer order in exchange for compliance. Schools train you to memorize, not to question. In his journals, Tesla wrote that these stories aren't here to lift you up. They're here to bind you, to drown out the soul's quiet hum with a cacophony of rules and warnings. He felt this in his Manhattan lab, where the world's skepticism pressed against his work, dismissing his findings as too wild, too dangerous to be heard. This silence is a kind of architecture, built to keep you in place. The words we use to dismiss the soul's truth, crazy, irrational, fanciful, aren't just casual slights. They're barriers, designed to make you doubt yourself before you even speak. Tesla sensed this in the way his ideas were ignored, his experiments sidelined. He believed the soul's reality, its nature as a frequency that endures, was labeled as mysticism, not because it's false, but because it's powerful. If you know your soul is eternal, as his echo catcher suggested in the flicker of Manhattan's nights, you stop fearing death. You start asking why you've been taught to bow, to conform, to live as if your light can be extinguished. In his lab, Tesla saw science as a path to truth, but he also saw it twisted into a gatekeeper. He wrote that the world's version of knowledge often narrows your mind, rewarding those who follow its script and punishing those who stray. Yet he kept working, mapping the soul's vibrations. feeling its signals in the hum of his machines. He believed the soul wasn't a fairy tale, but a frontier, a reality science could embrace if it dared to look beyond fear. In his Manhattan solitude, he sensed the weight of this control, the way it silenced not just him, but the truth that could free you from chains you didn't choose. Tesla's defiance was in his persistence. He didn't accept death as a punishment or salvation as a prize to be earned. He saw them as shifts in awareness, moments when the soul's frequency moves to a new rhythm. In his lab, he felt this in every signal his echo catcher caught, every moment that proved you're more than a body. This truth, he knew, was a threat to systems that need you afraid, that need you to believe your worth lies in their approval. A soul that knows its own eternity can't be swayed by promises or threats. It lives by its own light, choosing truth over fear, love over submission. The silence around Tesla's work wasn't an oversight. It was a strategy. His vision of the soul as a measurable, enduring frequency wasn't disproved. It was buried, left out of the stories we tell. The man who gave us the spark of modern life also gave us a spark of freedom, a truth that could shift how you see yourself. In his journals, he wrote that the greatest truths are hidden, not because they're lost, but because they challenge the world's grip. If you see death as a step, not a stop, you start to live differently, with a courage that comes from knowing you're eternal. This is more than a scientist's dream. It's a mirror held up to your life, asking you to see beyond the fear, beyond the noise. In his Manhattan lab, Tesla heard the soul's signal in every hum, a call to awaken, to question, to live as if you're part of something infinite. So, reach for that call. Let it stir the truths you've always felt, the questions you've been told to ignore. Tesla walked this path in the quiet of his lab, in the light of his discoveries. Answer that call, and let it guide you to a life unbound by silence. Have you ever caught a glimpse of yourself, not in a mirror, but in a quiet moment when the world falls away, a sense that you're more than your name, your job, your story? Nikola Tesla believed that feeling is the soul waking up, remembering its truth. In his lab, likely in the soft glow of Manhattan's electric nights, he didn't just chase the soul's frequency with his echo catcher or prove its journey through reincarnation. He sought to understand what it means to live awake, to recall the light you've always been, a signal that hums through eternity, untouched by the fears that try to dim it. Tesla's work wasn't about fame or machines. It was about uncovering a truth he felt in the vibrations of his lab. You are infinite. In his journals, he wrote that the soul isn't bound by the body or the rules you're taught. It's a frequency, carrying your essence across lifetimes, through death's doorway, into the vast field of existence. In his Manhattan lab, he lived this truth in moments when his consciousness slipped free, drifting above the city, seeing with a clarity that showed the soul's boundless reach. These weren't escapes. They were reminders that you're not a fleeting thing, but a spark woven into the universe's endless song. This remembering, Tesla believed, is the heart of awakening. It's not about gathering facts or chasing success. It's about shedding the layers of who you've been told to be the doubts, the fears, the masks. In his lab, he felt the soul's signal hum with a quiet power, as if it had always known its truth, waiting for the world's noise to fade. He described moments under intense magnetic fields, when he left his body and saw Manhattan from above, not as a dream, but as a reality as solid as stone. These experiences showed him the soul is eternal, a light that carries memories not just of this life, but of all you've been, guiding you toward who you're meant to become. Tesla's vision changes how you move through the world. If you're an eternal frequency, Every choice is a note in your melody, shaping your light. In his journals, he wrote that when you remember your soul's truth, life shifts. You stop chasing what fades: money, status, approval, and start living what lasts: love, truth, purpose. In his lab, he sensed this in the energies his machines caught, signals that felt like whispers of ancient lives, urging him to live boldly. He believed that awakening brings clarity, deepens your connections, and frees you from fears that aren't yours, letting you walk with a quiet strength that comes from knowing you're part of eternity. But Tesla knew this path isn't simple. The world is built to keep you asleep, to bury your soul's hum under deadlines, distractions, and demands. In his Manhattan lab, he worked alone, his ideas often mocked as too strange for a world that prizes conformity. He wrote that the truth of your soul is suppressed because it's a threat to control. If you know you're eternal, you don't need anyone's permission to live fully. You don't need a system to tell you your worth. In his lab, he felt this rebellion in every flicker of his echo catcher, every signal that proved the soul's light can't be dimmed by fear or force. This awakening is a quiet revolution. It's not about shouting your truth, but living it, letting your frequency shine in every moment. In his Manhattan nights, Tesla heard this call in the hum of his machines, in the energies that carried purpose across time. He didn't want you to follow him. He wanted you to listen to your own signal, to trust the knowing that stirs in your heart. This isn't about waiting for death to reveal your light. It's about shining now, choosing to love, to create, to question with a courage that comes from remembering you're eternal. This truth is a gift, waiting in the stillness. In his lab, Tesla felt the soul's signal in every pulse, a reminder that you're never lost, only learning to shine. So, open yourself to that pulse. Let it guide you past the world's noise, to the truth you've always carried. Let it shape your days, your dreams, your heart. Tesla found this light in the quiet of Manhattan, in the hum of his discoveries. Claim it now, and let it carry you toward the life you were born to live. Have you ever felt a stillness so deep it's like the world holds its breath? A moment when you know, without words, that you're part of something vast, something eternal. Nikola Tesla believed that stillness is where the soul sings, where you hear your own frequency. In his lab, likely in the electric glow of Manhattan, he didn't just uncover the soul's endurance or its journey through lifetimes. He saw it as a symphony, a melody that doesn't end with death but changes key, guiding you toward a freedom that's yours to claim. Tesla's truth, born in the hum of his machines, is a call to live awake, to let your light resonate in a world that often demands silence. Tesla didn't call the soul mere energy. He called it music, a vibration that weaves through existence, carrying your essence beyond the body's bounds. In his journals, he wrote that you're not here to invent meaning, but to tune into it, to align with the universe's endless song. In his Manhattan lab, he felt this in every signal his echo catcher caught, every shift that whispered of eternity. He believed death isn't a silence, but a new movement in your symphony, a shift to a frequency where your light shines clearer, unbound by flesh or fear. This vision wasn't just a scientist's dream. It was a map to freedom, a way to live without the chains of a world that thrives on keeping you small. In his lab, Tesla saw each of us as both sender and receiver, catching and sending signals in a dance of connection. You're not alone in this dance. You're woven into a web of light, linked to every soul, every spark, in a melody that stretches across time. In his Manhattan nights, he sensed this in the energies that moved through his machines, signals that felt like love, purpose, truth. He believed that when you hear your own frequency, you stop looking outside for answers. You stop waiting for permission to be who you are. You start living as a signal, clear and unbroken, resonating with the universe's hum. But Tesla knew this freedom comes with a challenge. Awakening isn't the end, it's the beginning. In his journals, he wrote that living awake means walking through a world designed to lull you back to sleep. It's choosing love when fear is easier, stillness when noise is loud, truth when lies are comfortable. In his lab, he felt the world's resistance, the way it dismissed his work as too strange, too bold. Yet he kept listening, tuning into the soul's music in the quiet of Manhattan, knowing that a single spark of awareness could shift everything. He believed that when you live as your true frequency, you become a beacon, waking others not with words, but with the light you carry. This freedom isn't about escaping the world. It's about transforming it, one choice at a time. In his lab, Tesla saw existence as a canvas, where every act of courage, every moment of love, paints a brighter stroke. He wrote that the soul's symphony isn't yours alone, it lifts others, even those lost in shadow. In his Manhattan solitude, he felt this in the signals that hummed with connection, as if every soul were singing together, even across the veil. He believed that living awake doesn't just free you, it frees those around you, creating ripples that echo through time, through lives, through the universe itself. Tesla's truth is a fire that can't be quenched. In his lab, he heard the soul's music in every pulse, a reminder that you're eternal, that your light is yours to shine. He didn't want you to follow his path. He wanted you to find your own, to let your frequency guide you through the noise, the fear, the lies. In his Manhattan nights, he felt this call in every hum, every signal that carried truth across eternity. This isn't about waiting for a better world. It's about making one, starting with the truth you carry, the light you've always been. So, let that fire burn. Let it light your way through the world's shadows, through the moments that test your heart. Let it guide you to live as the music you are, bold, clear, eternal. In his lab, Tesla found this truth in the quiet hum of Manhattan, in the signals that sang of freedom. Embrace it now and let your symphony ring out, a song that wakes the world to its own light.